Ever wondered what initial coin offerings are? Well, let's dive in and find out. Initial coin offerings, or ICOs for short, are a type of crowdfunding, but not your typical Kickstarter or GoFundMe. No, this is crowdfunding on a whole new level, conducted on the blockchain. Now you might be asking, what's this blockchain we're talking about? Simply put, blockchain is a decentralized and distributed digital ledger technology. Picture a ledger that's not held by one entity or institution but spread across a network of computers, each holding a copy of the entire ledger. Every transaction is transparent, secure, and immutable, meaning it can't be tampered with or altered once it's recorded. So ICOs are essentially a way to raise funds for new cryptocurrency ventures. They offer a unique avenue for startups and developers to gather the capital they need, bypassing traditional finance routes. And that, my friends, is just the tip of the iceberg. Now you might ask, why would anyone use ICOs? Well, that's a great question. Initial coin offerings, or ICOs, serve a crucial function in the cryptocurrency world. They're a way for startups to bypass the rigorous and heavily regulated capital raising process required by venture capitalists or banks. Instead of going through a mountain of paperwork and red tape, startups can use ICOs as a streamlined, efficient method to raise capital. But how does it work? In an ICO, a percentage of the newly issued cryptocurrency is sold to investors. This isn't sold for traditional legal tender, though. No, it's sold in exchange for other cryptocurrencies. It's like trading baseball cards, but instead of cards, we're dealing with digital currencies. This system allows startups to raise the funding they need while offering investors a piece of the pie. In essence, ICOs serve as a means to raise funds for projects in the crypto ecosystem. But how exactly do these ICOs work? Jumping right in, the process begins with the creation of a comprehensive plan, a document often referred to as a white paper. This white paper is a roadmap of sorts detailing the project's goals, the technology behind it, and the team working on it. It's essentially a blueprint for what the project aims to achieve and how it plans to get there. Now, the white paper also outlines the financial aspects of the ICO. It includes the amount of money that needs to be raised for the project to take off, and the number of tokens that will be issued in exchange for that funding. It's important to note that these tokens represent a form of stake or voting rights in the project, rather like shares in a company. The white paper also sets out the duration of the ICO campaign. This is the period during which these tokens are up for grabs, often in exchange for popular cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin or Ethereum. The duration can vary, but typically, it spans a few weeks or months. Once the campaign comes to an end, and if all goes well, the tokens metamorphose into a new cryptocurrency. This new currency can then be traded on various platforms or used within the ecosystem of the project. But how do we determine the success of an ICO? Well, it basically boils down to whether the amount of money raised meets the minimum funds required, as laid out in the white paper. This minimum is often referred to as the soft cap. If the ICO fails to hit this cap, the money is typically returned to the investors. On the other hand, if the cap is exceeded, we're looking at a hard cap, which is the maximum amount the project aims to raise. So, from the drafting of a detailed plan in the form of a white paper, to raising funds through the issuance of tokens, and finally, to the creation of a new cryptocurrency, the ICO process is a fascinating journey of transformation and innovation. And that, in a nutshell, is how ICOs work. Let's take a moment to recap what we've learned. We started off by introducing initial coin offerings, or ICOs, a unique type of crowdfunding that takes place on the blockchain. These ICOs are not just a newfangled method to raise capital, but a revolutionary tool that empowers crypto startups to kickstart their projects and bring their innovative ideas to life. We then delved into the purpose of ICOs. They serve as a means for these startups to raise funds, bypassing traditional fundraising routes and offering a more democratized and inclusive way to invest. Finally, we explored how the success of an ICO is determined. It's all about whether the minimum required funds are raised. If the target is met, the project can proceed. If not, the funds are returned to the investors. So there you have it, a quick rundown on initial coin offerings. Always remember that while the potential for returns can be high, so too can the risk. As with any investment, do your homework and invest wisely.